So the other day, I was online and I found a ticket on Amtrak for $19 from here.
Really?
Yeah, from New York. It was coach, but even
Where are we going? New York to where?
DC.
Oh, wow. Did you buy it?
I didn't, because I couldn't figure out the date. But I'm gonna go back because I think it's supposed to be that way for a little bit. But the business class was $39. So it was just like, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to ride coach. Look at $39, I'm going to just ride like,
yeah, life of luxury, girl.
Yeah, right. So saying that traveling is something that's picking up again. People are moving all around. If you're on social media, you're seeing so many people posting their thing. I don't know if you've seen the latest couples reel that's been kind of trending, where they sneeze into their elbow and then they're both on vacation. I think it's a song called I'm on Vacation. I think that's the name of the song. And so it's like couples are doing this thing like they're either on a plane or they're like at one place, they sneeze into their arm, and then the next segment of the next clip, they're actually on vacation somewhere. So like people are moving around a lot more these days. And are actually now a lot too have decided that they're not even going to do the middle seat policy anymore. Whereas they're not, before they weren't selling the middle seat, but now they're going to start selling it again.
Oh no.
And so it's interesting, I think the comfort of this vaccine has gotten people really open to moving around a lot more freely. Companies to not feel like they have to be as, what is that word that I'm looking for? Thorough, maybe, with their strategies for keeping
airlines now, they don't have to play coy anymore. Like, because their business model was basically kicked out with COVID. So they will play coy with us. They will send us emails telling us you could go from here to China for $5. So they can't do that anymore because they don't have to do that anymore. Like I saw something on the news that said last week was the second week in a row that over 1 million people had traveled in the US since COVID.
Wow.
I think that people just get them, people are getting lax, but the lady who's now the head of the CDC, I don't know her name, unfortunately. She was on TV crying, about to cry, saying, do not get lax. I know that you want to go out. We all want to go out, but do not take this for granted because of the variants that are popping up. We, just like a lot of Europe, because they've all seen a spike in COVID cases, we are due for a spike. So pay attention to that,
Yeah.
After you get the second shot, like say you get the 2 shots for COVID, you're not supposed to go anywhere you're not supposed to do anything really till 14 days after. Like I was with a friend yesterday and he was just like, yeah, as soon as I get the second shot, I'm booking a flight out. I'm like, no, but you have to wait 14 days. He was like, yeah, right. I'm not doing that,
Yeah, no, it's interesting comfort level, and we understand, right? Like we've been cooped up and limited for the most part, and what we could do for over a year now. People are antsy. People want to get out. I mean, honestly, I believe that that's why the whole protest thing was so.
Yes.
People were so because it was like the perfect kind of storm.
Yes, it was a captive audience.
Right there, so it's like, oh, let me just get out and do something, and that's understandable because people have been in, so they want to start moving around, and we have been living in a very unnatural environment for the last, like I say, over a year. Where we have to leave outside with masks on. We have, some of us haven't been able to see family members. There's a hesitancy to even physically engage someone with a hug or a handshake or any of those things that seemed so second nature before. So you understand why, when people hear of the possibility of things getting back to normal, they're gonna run at that chance.
That's true, but I think that ever since this, things will never get back to normal. It's going to be a new normal. You understand? Yeah. This changed the world. Like, no one's gonna, if you're sick, you're not gonna be running to work to prove to your boss that you're sick. You're gonna call in once and your boss is gonna say, stay home, you know? Yeah. And more people, it's estimated that more people are gonna be working from home now. Like, it changed the workforce. It changed how we function. It changed everything. This was the game changer. For real. You know? Yeah. I mean, dolphins have prospered because human beings weren't sucking up all the air and sucking up their ability.
I don't know if dolphins have the exclusive benefit, have exclusively benefited from this. But yes, wildlife. Yeah.
And so I just think that it's going to change everything about our world. And I welcome that change because this is just a part of life, you know? Yeah. Just like after 9/11 hit, I lived in New York at the time because I'm from here. New York was never the same.
No.
And it has been well over 20 years. Well, no, 2000. This year is the 20th year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And New York's never the same. And that was something that happened one day, and it was horrible. You know, it changed the city. But now we're talking about something that but COVID now is a tragedy that took over a whole year and some change now. More than 500,000 people have passed away. So 9/11, thousands of people passed away, or hundreds. So we're talking about the duration of time, the number of lives that have been lost. It's never going to be the same. And I don't have a problem with change. You might as well embrace it because there's nothing that I can do the only recourse you have is to embrace the change that's coming. That's here now, and we're just going to get more lax. So when people are traveling more, I just want to say, sit down. Just like Kendrick Lamar said, sit down.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to say sit down because I feel like it's healthy to travel, get out, do things. I think that we got to be smart about the things that we're doing. And I would say that traveling to some place that has a lot of open space where you're not necessarily going to be around a lot is a good alternative. Initially, I was like, oh my God, all the things that I love to do are being overtaken by people. I can't believe it. There's just so many people at the parks now. When did this become a thing? But now I actually really love, like, I've shifted my approach to it. And I'm like, I love that people have reconnected with, you know, nature. Yes. And, like, want to embrace and inhale all of the simple pleasures of life. And travel, like, there's only so much of an experience one can get from the radius that they live in. So it's hard for me to say, like, don't travel. Like,
the gas prices have gone up because people are getting in the car and taking road trips, you know? And I think that, like, a road trip, I don't think there's anything wrong with a road trip, but it depends, because if you go on to crazy Florida with all those crazy people, more power to you.
Listen, I mean, hey, or Texas, but hey. But listen, guys, as always, that's the Easy As a Podcast. It's not about what Bonnie and what Brandy thinks you should do with your life. It's about providing you with information so you can make decisions that are best for you. So
I'm trying to tell you, don't go to Florida. Don't go. It's scary.
Stay away from Florida. However, if you are considering going somewhere and you need information to figure out ways that you can safely explore that possibility or that thing, Dr. Simone Lord back again talking about ways that we can travel safely. How do we safely travel? How do we ease our anxiety? How do we prepare ourselves before a trip, during a trip, and after a trip so that we make sure if we decide to go away and we come back to other people that we love, that we are not putting them in harm's way. So Dr. Simone Lord is coming up in our next segment, and we look forward to hearing what you think. All right. So, you know, spring is in the air. What does that mean? It means we want to keep moving. We want to get back outside. We want to be moving around. But sometimes that means that we don't just want to stay in the place where we are. So we got to travel. So Vaughn, what you thinking about as far as travel is concerned?
I mean, the whole situation with the plane, let's not even get into it right now. All of it is, again, I'm nervous again, but I'm still trying to live life. Just the whole thought of it. I don't know about that. They said that the planes aren't even ventilated properly, and they said that I saw this guy on the news and he said he had a mask on the whole time he was on a flight and he still got COVID. He was like, it can definitely go through your eye shaft. I'm like, what? I mean, so I'm already nervous and now you're telling me that it can go through my eye shaft,
Yeah. So it sounds like keeping it super local is your strategy during this time.
Yes, like places where I could drive, or be driven, because I don't drive in New York. I was meant to be driven.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have Lord back. But the people who aren't as lucky as Vaughn and Niece getting driven all over the place and they have to drive them or figure out how to fly into different locations. So Dr. Lord, welcome back to T, the Easy Answer podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. And how are you ladies doing?
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on, by the way. I gotta say that I share your concerns, with the flying because, that one is really, really a tough one. So we do a lot of staycations where we drive up to the mountains and have really, really good times. So if you really must fly, you have to protect yourself. In addition to the mask, you might want to get the mask like that. You might want to get the one that covers here as like well, right? So you'll have on two. In addition to that, you want to keep those gloves on. You don't want to take those gloves off for nothing because it's really a lot of people use the mask, but they forget that their hands are touching everything. So you really want to, try to avoid flying if you can for a while until things get way normal, like maybe another year, you know what I mean? So in the meantime, there's so many places that you can explore, driving or even, it's the same problem, even though if you take the train, it's like kind of similar, but at least there's not so many people breathing down your neck.
That's what I mean?
Yeah.
And also when you go visit other places, I have a friend that went to the Caribbean recently. She had to quarantine for 5 days. So a trip that the Caribbean is so close to New York where we live. The trip's like an hour, 2 hours. Then you have to quarantine for 5 days. So in order to see the sightseeing, you have to make the trip double, like 2 weeks long, or 3 weeks long.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really like a big problem because some countries, some islands are not letting people into. For example, Trinidad is still not letting people in. Jamaica is, and some other places, St. Croix, I believe, is, but there's like St. Thomas, they're not letting people in. So, you have to also, you can't just go, like that, like cold turkey, I'm going on a trip as if there's no disease looking around because you will get sick, if you just go, this is not the time to be really brave and just get out there and do it. You might want to walk with a lot of stuff. You have to have some gear, some immune tablets. You need all the gear that you can have at this time if you are forced to travel. So I would definitely walk with the antiviral tea, the olive tea formula that I make. I would walk with something like that. I would walk with, some black seed oil. Definitely you unpack some golden seal. You need to kill that bug. So you just have to pack differently and put it in your suitcase because they won't let you in probably with, golden seal. It's in a bottle. So you might have to put all of that in your suitcase, but definitely the tea, but you definitely can't go just with nothing. You have to pack a health bag,
Well, you have to test before you go. So you'd have to take the COVID test in order to get into the country, and then you have to test again once you're there.
Yeah, it kind of defeats the whole point of a vacation because it's so stressful. You know, you stress
Yes.
getting on the plane, you stressed on the plane, you stressed when you get there, and then because you have to wear the mask all through, you know. So what's the sense? I mean,
I know. Like, how is this relaxing, right? Like, just drive wherever you're going. And sometimes a nice road trip could be fun.
it
There's
is.
a lot of things you could do. I mean, I'm not the driver, so since I know I'm not the driver, I'm really good at thinking of fun things to talk about, holding
Yeah.
up the phone. I can stay up, so
And read a
we all,
book. You can also read a
we
book.
all can work together as a team to make the road trip fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like hanging out in the mountains. That's my favorite thing to do. That's, the pools, the everything they have to offer. They have a lot to offer. Even, snow tubing, that's a lot of fun. Gets the adrenaline going. We went sledding down the hills. That was really good too. It's just a lot of fun things to do upstate at the different resorts up there. It's pretty inexpensive, but it's a lot of fun. So you could get a facial, you could get a massage, and these things are still, you're still able to do some of these things. Your massage therapist or your facial person, they
Esthetician.
wear like 2 masks.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's still fun things to do right here in New York. Just go out a little further.
Staying at
Yeah.
resorts like that. So are there any types of I don't know, protocols or processes to be looking for when they're staying at different resorts, like to make sure that they're like safe and doing what they need to stay as healthy as possible?
Well, yeah, they have made the whole process very, very simple. Even like before you get into the pool, you have to wear your mask up until you get in, which is really, I don't know if it really does anything because you were just over there. Now you're over here without the mask. And the same people who you were walking past with the mask, they're now in the pool
So
without
they
the
scared
mask.
the droplets too. It's the droplets, girl. I'm trying to tell you.
Exactly. So I don't know, but they try, they try. So you kind of, and then there are places like to take kids where, lots of places to take the kids. I've observed that it's not very safe though, because there's this place called Urban Air, and a lot of kids go, but they all touching the surfaces. And although they have on masks, they're still touching, every little kid's touching the surface. So,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
not safe.
yeah, that's not really that safe. So the masks, you keep the masks, but it's the gloves. The gloves you really have to keep on. And then you have to take all these immunity boosters right through. You have to really take care of yourself as you will go down. A lot of people just depend on a vaccine. And I don't believe that you should just depend on a vaccine. I think that you should take care of yourself because a vaccine can't stop cancer,
Yeah.
so it can stop a lot of stuff. But if you take care of yourself, that can stop a lot of stuff from
Yeah.
happening, a lot of ailments from
But I think that
invading.
all of that comes from paying attention to your health. Like you said, if you start to pay attention, if you pay attention to your body, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling a little cold. You can, nip it in the butt.
There we go. A stitch in time, right? And if you
Yeah.
have to get on a plane, then you really should carry some little wipes or something, the little sanitizing wipes to like nobody sits on that toilet bowl anyway, but to wipe the doors, and you really just need those gloves. A lot of people are paying way too much attention to have a mask, and then they're touching everything while they have COVID. So it's really the attention needs to be placed on gloves as much as it is on masks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they're not doing that. And I feel as though like the mask is like a bit of a scam because you don't have to have a doctorate to know that if you can't breathe really well, it will cause respiratory problems. I mean, you don't need a doctorate to figure that out, right? I don't think so, but it's a little helpful, the mask, but in the long run, it's not really good for us because I already feel myself can't breathe a lot with the mask. It's
But I feel
hampering
like
the
the
breathing.
mask is necessary because some people, they're just, I think it's necessary to tell everyone to wear a mask and gloves because some people just, it's hard to regulate what human beings will and won't do. The three of us here, we've been blessed with the ability to discernment. A lot of people don't have that discernment. A lot of people, you make the suggestion that they wear a mask and they won't wear a mask, and they'll be sick and they'll get on the train and they're coughing out loud for everyone. Yeah. So if you say everyone wears a mask, so even if you're coughing or you're sneezing into the mask, so you're not affecting other people,
Yeah, to that extent, I agree, because also when some people speak, like we've had people come into the juice bar before they said that the mask was mandatory. And they would, we had them stand at the door though, and we would take the order from like 10 feet away. But they spoke and spit. Some people speak and spit. You know what I mean? And those droplets, you know what I mean? Thank God we were far away. Like, if you know you speak and spit, like, don't talk. Be quiet.
Yes. So that's what the mask is for. It's for people like that, the people who sneeze, the people who drink it, who, like you said, the droplets. So I think masks are necessary because we all function differently in this world. So that's why I think the mask is necessary. And like, I have a mask that is this one. It's the one that you really can't breathe with. The N95.
Yeah.
And so what I do is when I'm walking down the street, so I'm wearing the mask, and then when I'm walking down the street, and if there's no one coming, I put the mask down, and then I get a little bit of air, and then I put the mask back up.
Yeah.
But I have time periods when I'm going on my daily walks that I put the mask down.
Yeah, the mask it's like a necessary evil, I would say.
Yes.
But it does cause some respiratory problems. So if you know that you're a person with respiratory problems, maybe you really shouldn't go out too much. Maybe you should, if you have to go out, you should be alone. Like you go with just your family or to a park or something. But if you know you cannot breathe really well because you have like asthma, or if you have other, bronchitis, any kind of problems like that, prolonged use of that mask while you work will hurt you. And I'm speaking from experience because, like, while I'm cooking here, sometimes I have to keep the mask on. If there's people, if I'm cooking alone, it's okay. But, I'm not talking, I'm just cooking. But if there's people in the juice bar, I have to wear the mask whenever there's people, staff or clients. So that mask is necessary, but it creates skin problems too. I break out, and then sometimes I can't breathe. So I have to, so I need like extreme, mountain air and stuff, like all those kind of activities. I need like extreme activities to just keep the air flow. And deep breathing is really, really key for a lot of disease. So, if you really have to let the toxins out of your body in any kind of situation, when you deep breathe, you let the toxins out. People with cancer, people with all disease, if you deep breathe, it lets it out. It lets the toxins out. So when you continuously keep those toxins in, you just really keeping yourself a bit unhealthy. Yes. So you have to, even after the mask, you go in your backyard or in a park and you practice your deep breathing exercises. This will help people who suffer from kidney failure to liver problems, especially the people who have high blood pressure. You guys need to deep breathe. So deep breathing is a very, very good way to keep the toxins, get the toxins out of your body and keep your blood good and clean. So.
And how long would you recommend somebody deep breathe for?
Oh, so that's a really good question. So we say at least 12 times, and it's in through the nostrils. Hold it. You start feeling immediate release. Sometimes when you deep breathe, you do that 12 times. And when you deep breathe, sometimes if you feel like a burp, it's fine. Let it out. You just got to get it out, and it calms your state. Sometimes you get in a more calm meditation state. That's why they say when people are messing with you, take a deep breath, because it calms you down. So it's a great way to help people with high blood pressure.
That's a good
kidney disease too. Because with kidney disease, they keep a lot of the emotions in. So, and it's not good. So that's why you have to do your deep breathing exercise, but not on the plane.
All right. So listen, if you are not interested in getting up in the air to travel, we still recommend that you find some time to breathe in some air to maybe travel to a calmer place in your mind. So regardless, the goal is safe and do what makes sense and feels good for you. So until next time, guys, this is the Easy Answer Podcast. Take care.
Bye.